And welcome back to more of Super Adventure Island 2, where now that we finally took care of all the islands, we have to get access to the spells in order to get to Poka Island. So what I'm doing now is I'm just showing off the inn, and the reason I'm doing this is because this is a good clue as to what to do. If you try to go to Poka Island without the spells, there's actually a wall blocking you. So that's just something to know. And I know it's been a while since I made a Super Adventure Island 2 video, but let's see, I just had my computer problems and then just a lot of traveling going on this month. So I mean, at least I should be able to finish this series pretty soon. And then of course we get this little exchange here. And then of course Tina's just being herself here. Although I will say, big hunk of a Neanderthal, that's definitely a new one for her. I mean, when it comes to just insulting Higgins, that's definitely a new one. Although peanut-sized brain is definitely something that's been usable. And we did get the elven flute after we defeated Salasala Island, so that is something we are going to end up using. And then, let's see, the power sword is something we are going to find in Poka Island. Well, then again, I always thought Mountaineer was good for you. Oh well. Yeah, I got nagged. That's a pleasant dream. Anyway, so what I'm doing here is just a montage of like all the stuff I missed. And then we're just going to the shrines, and basically what we're going to do is just get on this slab and then use the elven flute in order to activate the next area. So I mean, some things are a little bit different, but as you can see, my health changed, and you know, the reason for that is because I recorded all the other stuff first, and then I recorded that scene at the end. I mean, it was just something I had to show off anyway, so just might as well. I mean, I do end up with the same amount of hearts anyway, so I mean, that's just something else that happens. But either way, the shrine in, I guess the part after the shrine in this particular island is actually not that tough. It's really not all that different from what we had to go through to finish the level. I mean, it is Poka Island after all, so we're naturally stronger than every enemy here. And then of course axes can just take care of everything. And what I did show off was a time spell, and that just slows down enemies. Pretty self-explanatory. So yeah, I mean, really all I gotta do is just make my way past all this stuff. And I decided to go with the axe for some reason, just because I actually should say that the axe is actually a pretty underrated weapon, since it does have range and since it is pretty strong. Problem is that the boomerang just tops it in just about every way. I mean, except for the fact that the axe is better when you have the higher ground. Anyway, this is the blizzard spell. I have no idea how this is going to look on YouTube, but oh well. And of course it doesn't kill that turtle, so go figure. And then I forget that you actually had to be on the slab in order to use the flute. So I mean, that's pretty much the gist of this whole episode, is just me going through all the different areas following the shrine, and then I do have all of Poka Island fully recorded, so I mean, that is one I'm looking forward to finishing. And then this happens. So then, fortunately, some backtracking later, I just was able to deactivate the switch and then just end up getting the magic bottle. So that's almost all of them. And either way, this area is actually pretty simple. All you have to do is just take care of the dragons, not fall into the lava, and then just make your falls. I mean, nothing too tough. Except when you decide to dive into the lava like that. Fortunately, lava doesn't kill you in one hit in this game like it does in most other games. I mean, at least that kind of makes sense, seeing as how it is lava. So, anyway, this is the sun spell, so that's the end of that. And now, let's see, I could have gotten this one a little bit earlier, but I decided not to. So I just decided to wait until we got to this area. in order to, I think it's a heart piece or a life bottle. And of course you have to make the jumps, that's the important part. So yeah, I mean, I could have gotten that one a little bit earlier, but I just decided to wait a little bit for efficiency's sake. But as you can tell, this episode is post-commentary, and I just felt like it would be a little bit easier this way. And then you forget that I had to use a fire sword just to get past everything. But I mean, either way, the enemies are all the same, so... I mean, I forgot why I didn't edit this part out. Let's see, But anyway, I just actually had to go down here. And then... Let's see, I think the way we need to go is actually across here. So yeah, I mean, we did end up finding the right area, and I did decide to use a boomerang here just because this place can be a little bit tricky just because of some tough jumps. But I mean, actually the jumps themselves aren't the problem, it's actually just trying not to get knocked off the vines. Of course, I don't know who came up with frozen vines to use as ropes, but yeah, what do I know? Then again, why am I questioning the logic of this game? This game doesn't make enough sense as is. Yeah, you might as well just go a little bit further. Let's see, in hindsight I probably should have just gone with one of the swords, but yeah, well, I mean, the boomerang still worked out just fine. And then, of course, you just have to be in the right spots, and this is not exactly an area you can bum rush through because of all the changes in, like where... or like the vine locations and all that stuff. And then we are going to be seeing this gimmick a few times in Poka Island where we do have to lower one weight and then jump on one to raise another weight. So I mean, that's nice to get some practice on it now. And then of course all I gotta do is just make my way across here, and then we're gonna get our hands on the star spell. Of course that's as soon as this rabbit shows up. But because I'm vengeful like that, I just decided to hit him. So either way, I might as well just show off the Fire Blast spell, and it's essentially the same thing as the Blizzard spell. And once again, I have absolutely no idea why it didn't kill that rabbit. But either way, here we are in Sala Island, and let's see, this part's a little bit tougher just because you do have to worry about some tricky platforming like we did at the end of the level where we had to fight the mummy. And then of course, because the enemies are stronger here, so of course that's another thing we gotta worry about. So after that, what we're doing is just trying to make our way across here. And also really important just to make our way over to the right. Just because we're going to get ourselves another magic bottle, because, well, that's always good. Especially in the final bosses, we really are going to need to use that cure, or we really are going to want to have that cure spell handy on us, just in case something bad happens. And then, of course, we're in for a pretty long ride here, so what we gotta do is just make our way across and then just make our jumps when we have to. And then here I keep forgetting as to whether or not I was supposed to take that other one or just, yeah, it turned out I was supposed to take that other one. And that's what happens when you mess up. So let's see, this part can be tough, especially because there are just so many spikes and also a lot of blind leaps of faith here. Just because, well, those things are always fun, aren't they? And it's even more fun whenever you got bats that attack you off screen. Of course, I shouldn't be too angry because that guy did make me a lot of money at the casino. Or, I mean, that skull bat thing. And again, speaking of skull bats, I was watching another Kid Icarus and Myths and Monsters playthrough. And I do realize that the skull bat's actually kind of tough when you don't have the longbow. Then again, I think all those bosses are actually kind of tough when you don't have the proper weapons. Well, then again, that was one of my first ones, and it's just refreshing to see that one again. And now that we got that, let's just go ahead and take ourselves a moon spell. And then let's just see what's in here for the hell of it. And at this point, I'm just like, screw it, let's just go back. Or at least, now I do that. Okay, well that's better. Let's see, we just got one more to go, so it shouldn't be too tough, and what we gotta do is find the last one in Poka Island, and we gotta go to this spot at the end. Then of course I had the cure spell on me just because really easy to lose that bubble, and it's also really easy to get hit by spikes. And I'd probably consider this one the hardest one, and that's why I left it for last. So what I gotta do is I gotta ride this bubble, and they do something similar like this in Sonic 2 for Game Gear, which is a level I absolutely hated. But either way, what we gotta do is just ride the bubble. And spoiler alert, we are gonna have to do this again in Fwa, so might as well just get good at it now. But the good news is we can actually find some decent treasures here. Except the problem with this thing is you do have to wait for it to wear out. Or you can just get hit by the spikes, but who wouldn't want to do that when you only have 5 hearts to work with? So I mean, it's just easier and more cautious to work with it that way. Then again, I did have a cure spell, but I just didn't really feel like tempting fate. So of course they have to put all the annoying enemies here. And then just make our way across, and let's see, I think this is another set of coins. Don't quote me on that one. Okay, turned out, what, 1,000 coins? So either way, what we gotta do is just go a little bit more, and then of course I had to just wait another set here. Yeah, unfortunately it was just the waiting between or for the bubble to wear off that was just the most annoying part. I mean, this part wasn't really the tricky part. It's actually the next part when Starfish starts showing up. Like, right there. Especially, it's like, screw it, you just run through it. Easier that way. And then here I thought he was going to go to the left, and then turned out I was wrong. And now we got ourselves the final spell of the game. So I just decided to feather out of here. So I will see you next time for the final part.